So if Donald Trump believes that is the situation and he is doing the prudent thing, he's not an authoritarian. He's delusional.
Okay.
Why do people keep saying this? That is an even you can be a delusional authoritarian. Like the idea that Donald Trump wants to coup the government, but he thinks there's a really good reason to do it, that still makes it a coup. What are you talking about?
So
There's a difference.
An authoritarian because he actually thought the Jews were coming after them, right? Yes.
I'm not going to litigate World War II, whether or not Hitler was delusional to make your point. That's like bad faith. That's bad faith as fuck.
It's not, because it's not bad faith at all. You're saying that just because they believe it's happening, that it's no longer authoritarian.
That's true, Tom. Tom is fair.
Sorry, Sitch.
What happened?
He's making a bad faith argument. I'm not going to.
No. Wait. This is not a bad faith argument.
It is a total bad.
No. Hold on.
I'm not here to litigate.
No.
Would you then say that not all coups are bad, but that Trump did not rise to the what? A coup is just a coup. It's not a coup or a revolution or a revolt. It's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. I mean, I guess it's bad to the system itself. But I mean, like, how could I possibly say that all coups or all insurrections or all revolutions are bad when one, that's a history of like so many different countries, including my own. That's where my country came from. Do I think that the insurrection of the colonists against the British, that the United States, Revolutionary War or the colonists' Revolutionary War was a bad thing? Like, what?
No, wait. Okay, this is what you do have to litigate, right? You're basically making the argument that delusion is a defense against everything.
Yeah, which is that's so crazy.
In terms of negative intention or being labeled as an authoritarian. That is the argument that you're making.
It's not.
Well, okay, so you agree that someone...
You agree that there's a difference between someone who's delusional and someone who's authoritarian, right?
Non-responsive, doesn't matter. There's a difference between someone who's delusional and authoritarian. These have nothing to... That's like saying, you understand that some people could be tall or they could be they could be Americans, right? Like... These two properties have nothing to do with each other.
This person could...
Like the Mad King in Got, okay? I'm pretty sure he was delusional or crazy, but he was also an authoritarian, right?
Someone who's delusional and someone who's authoritarian, right? This person could be the nicest person in the world. If they're delusional...
Hold on. Being nice has nothing to do with being an authoritarian or being delusional. Are we just throwing out random classifications or ontological categories, or what are we going to say next?
And acting on a delusion, they're not an authoritarian. They're doing the right thing. Authoritarian, right? This person could be the nicest person in the world. If they're delusional and acting on a delusion, they're not an authoritarian. They're doing the right thing.
What an unbelievably stupid statement.
You literally agree with what he said.
Hold on. Are you saying that someone who suffers from a delusion cannot be authoritarian? Because that's what you're saying.
That's literally what you're saying, though. Wait, what? Remember, if you're in an argument and your opponent can't summarize your position, even though they're trying to in good faith over and over and over again, that's because you're being a weasel.
I am not.
So give me an example of someone who is delusional and authoritarian by your definitions of these words.
Well, I can't because I just created this whole special category of thing just for Donald Trump to not be guilty of anything bad.
That's not my argument.
That is your. That's the question. Is that you're saying Donald Trump is not authoritarian because he's delusional.
Someone who is an authoritarian is acting imprudently. They know that they're acting imprudently.
People can act as authoritarians or revolutionaries and be acting in incredibly prudent ways, or they think they are. A lot of these people are probably heavily ideologically driven. They think they're doing the right thing. Or at least the right thing for a certain group of people.
They know that they lost the election, and they don't give a They're like, system, rules, it doesn't matter. I'm an authoritarian. I am the law. I am the state. That's an authoritarian. Do you agree?
So I don't agree. No. Authoritarian is just someone who doesn't have respect for the laws, the Constitution, and was willing to sacrifice all those things in favor of what they want or believe.
Okay,
that's close, right? I would say authoritarian is probably somebody who wants to centralize power in a single branch or a single figure, and they're willing to shirk the checks and balances to move past any kind of like controlling forces, right? They're an authoritarian. They want to do it like a single person or single party rule. They don't need this usually also stands in high contrast to things like liberal values, right? You don't want like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, any of these things. Usually this all kind of go hand in hand, but it's close enough. What he's saying, yeah.
We're using completely different definitions of authoritarian.
Yeah, but so again, as I asked you, under your definition, you are saying that someone cannot be delusional and authoritarian.
He's just going to say no. He's going to disagree with every single thing that Sitch says because he feels like if he agrees with anything, he's walking into a trap because he realizes what he's saying is stupid. I don't know. Never mind. Maybe he'll agree. Maybe he'll say yes.
Someone can be delusional and authoritarian, obviously.
Okay.
Okay. So he says yes. Wait. So then why isn't Trump delusional and authoritarian?
Mostly.
So give me an example. So what does that look like?
Saddam Hussein mistakenly executes 50 of the wrong people because he thinks they're conspiring against him because he.
Is that what he thinks these are about? That they really genuinely think they were being conspired against him and that's why they executed them? Or was it a show of force or a show of power or a show of I can do whatever the fuck I want because I'm the fucking leader and if I even think you're looking at me wrong, you will be executed?
He's delusional.
Okay, but let's say that Saddam Hussein was delusional and an authoritarian. What's the difference then between that and Trump?
Why is that authoritarian?
Because he is the law. He can do whatever he wants.
Okay, like
but what part of that? So the authoritarian part is the executing the people without trial. Is that the authoritarian part? I'm trying to ask you. I'm trying to figure out this distinction here.
Adam can't engage too much with this because he realizes this is like logically it's indefensible. Like by the logically whatever syllogism or whatever formal logic he lays out it's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. Like, there's no way that any of this is going to be consistent if he starts to plug Trump into any of these premises.
Look, I'm done with this, okay?
This is an abuser tactic, by the way. If you've got a partner and every single time you're approaching something that you have a fundamental disagreement on and they either start crying or they tell you they're done with the argument, whenever you're hitting on something that you know that they won't concede or that you feel like you want to discuss and they won't, that's an abuser 101 tactic.
Okay.
I'm literally done with you.
Okay.
And he quits.
So now what?
Thoughts on Biden calling 50% of the country garbage? For the first time, I will say I am incredibly disappointed that Joe Biden called half the country garbage and then apologized for it. He should have stood on those comments. If you think that it's acceptable to joke at a rally that Puerto Rico is a floating island of trash, while when Trump was the president, thousands of Puerto Ricans died on that island when Elon Musk was like, oh, I'm going to replace the whole fucking whatever the fuck. And then you want to have like a racist joke about it at your rally? I think that the Tony guy, I think is like decently funny. I do. I really do. I even think that skit was funny. I even think the joke was pretty funny. I thought it was a funny enough joke, but not at a political rally for somebody that's being accused of and thought of as racist by half the country. That's wild. That's insane. That's an insane routine to do at the head of a political rally in New York.
On the other hand, right-wingers, if you're making excuses for how anti-Muslim he is, he uses the word Palestinian as an insult.
The biggest and best, I was thinking. It's funny because you can't even call out these things because they're so normalized. This is the start and stop of if I'm talking about Donald Trump being anti-Muslim. The fact that he calls him Barack Hussein Obama over and over again, that's all you really need to know. I wouldn't, and no other human being in real life would ever second guess that. If they were like, oh, what do you think about Obama? And they're like, oh, well, I didn't really like when Barack Hussein Obama did this. I'd be like, oh, you're racist. Yo, what up, dude? You hate Muslims too? My man, hell yeah.
So stop making...
That's all you need. Anything else is just like, the fuck, bro.
Rob you of your diploma and I deport you. We're not gonna elect a monster like that. Debbie Dingle, you don't have to go to internment camps. He already said all this crazy stuff. So stop making us lose credibility. On the other hand, right-wingers, if you're making excuses for how anti-Muslim he is, he uses the word Palestinian as an insult. He doesn't care about Muslim lives one bit.
Donald Trump is deeply racist and he says deeply racist things, okay? I want to make a distinction between Donald Trump, the person who says and does racist things, and the notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just gonna use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay,
I wish that, I was waiting for peers to pull out the, why do you guys call him Hitler? You do know that like Hitler murdered, 6 million Jews. Really? In 1933? In 1934? In 1935? In 1936? How many Jews? Like, not to say that Trump is Hitler or will even be Hitler, but you understand how stupid that assertion is, right? Trump hasn't killed 6 million people. Neither did Hitler when he was on his rise to power. Neither did Hitler in his first several years of being chancellor. Like, what are you saying when you say something that stupid? Nobody is saying that he's holocausted people yet. They're saying that he has the rhetoric of fascist, which, by the way, he does so hard, so heavily that if it was a movie script, you would tell the writer to tone it down, bro. We get it. He's a bad guy. The media is the enemy of the people. Like, a little too on the nose there, chief. Okay? Fascism didn't start with the concentration camps. Jesus Christ.
What do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But
true. Why do we even have the word? Actually, true. I agree with Anna. We shouldn't even have the word fascist, right? We should just get rid of every single thing that's inconvenient to Donald Trump, I think, right? Remember after the Civil War and we were doing Reformation and people in Congress were like, okay, but for real, if somebody like Civil Warred against us, we probably shouldn't have that person in office again, right? Well, at least if they were like, if they held office before and they swore an oath to the Constitution and then they literally Civil Warred against us, we probably shouldn't have that person in office again, right? Isn't that kind of crazy, right? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But then today, the Supreme Court's like, well, but that's really inconvenient now because now there's a guy that's really popular who kind of did do that and he wants to run for office again. So we're going to have to go ahead and just say, we're going to ignore that part. We're just going to ignore that part of the 14th Amendment, okay? We're just going to pretend that that part didn't exist.
I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But was he able to do those things?
First of all, his entire cabinet had to threaten, not cabinet, administration, his White House team had to say, we're all going to mass resign.
Thank you. I wonder if any of these are coming from me because of all the J6 research on stream. Or maybe other people. I know a lot of other people made videos and shown on it. Regardless of where it's coming from, thank you. Yes, they did. But nobody even knows what this is. Nobody knows what he's talking about. Nobody knows what this means. Nobody knows what the DOJ is. Nobody knows what the associate AGs do. Nobody knows the civics in the United States. You have to have like a 5-hour conversation with an American for them to even understand why this is bad. It's so frustrating.
His White House team had to say, we're all going to mass resign if you roll out tanks against American citizens.
Okay, so if you think he's a fascist, wouldn't
like she doesn't even care. She's like, okay, whatever. So, and
that justify taking physical action against him?
No.
And then what is this like glowing rhetoric? Like, oh, then you want to go kill him, Jenk? You want to go kill him then, buddy? Like the good Muslim you are? Like, what the f, Anna? What the f?
So if you think he's a fascist, wouldn't that justify taking physical action against him?
No, because that doesn't help. That devolves us further into fascism.
Yeah, exactly.
But
what do you mean exactly? What point do you think you're making? I think Donald Trump's a fascist. I think you're wrong. What do you mean? Well, if he was a fascist, shouldn't you be out there trying to kill him? Well, no, I think that would probably do irreparable damage to our democracy, and it kind of undermines the point I'm trying to make that we should be a democracy. Exactly. Exactly what? Exactly what?
There's a difference between somebody shooting someone, that's fascism, and saying, I disagree with them, don't elect a fascist prick who says only white people are awesome and everybody else is garbage and should be banned. No, look, I'm not gonna take a chance with a monster like that.
True, take a chance. Yes, true. And this, yeah, and the fact that they're conceding Donald Trump is a fascist, and they're like, they don't even say no, he's not, and no, he wouldn't try to be. They'd say, well, he probably wouldn't be successful. What the fuck? What the fuck? What's America? What's going on, buddy?
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.